Little update now, we've got paint on the hull and the turret. I'll just give a close-up of that. The underneath is just plain dunkelgrau or Tamiya dark grey. I forget the number just off the top of my head, but if I remember I will try and add it to the screen so you can see it somewhere down here. So we'll just focus in on this for you. And on the upper part, as you can see, we've gone with the two-tone scheme as discussed, as per this one in the magazine here. Now I don't have the correct number, the 221, so it'll still be 223. That's all that comes with the decals, unfortunately. But I thought it just had a little bit more interest than the plain grey. So the next step is going to be the decals, and then it's going to have a clear wash. So I've done the same with the turret, as you can see there, mix of the grey and the dunkel brown, which is another Tamiya XF56 springs to mind. I'll double check that, and again I say I will try and remember to add those to the bottom of the screen here. It does give the colour call-outs for Hataka and another brand, which I forget off the top of my head on the box. Hang on, it's over here. Oh, Vallejo, yes, there you go. Vallejo and Hataka, it gives the colour call-outs for. So if you use either of those paints, it tells you exactly what you need, which is good. So that's the hull and the turret. The next step is going to be applying the decals, which we've got a small number that goes onto the front of the glasses plate, and then the cross and the number which goes onto either side of the turret. And we'll be doing that, and then it will be having a coat of clear, future or pledge or whatever you happen to call it in your part of the modelling world, which I find works excellently for me, always has done, as a clear protective barrier prior to an oil wash. So it'll be getting a pin wash on selective parts, and to highlight things like the suspension components and what have you, and in the grills at the rear and around the turret hatches, just to make them pop out a little bit more. And after that, it will be getting a coat of flat clear, and I'll be trying for the first time a Windsor & Newton Galleria matte varnish. So I've heard very good things about it, and I've never been truly satisfied with all the matte clears that I've tried previously. So that particular one is much lauded, along with Tester's dull coat, which is nigh on impossible to find in the UK, and when you can find it, it's ludicrously priced, unfortunately. So all you guys stateside, you're very lucky that you can get that easily, and I assume quite cheaply as well. So it'll be a dull coat over that, and then I will be painting the tools, the shovel, the hatchet, the jack, and then the exhaust pipes and bits and pieces after I've done that. So next step, decals. The next step, as mentioned, was the decals, which have laid onto the surface really nicely. The decals with this kit are absolutely fantastic. It's a shame there's only a handful of them, because they're really thin and they conform beautifully with a little dot of microsol to assist them. They conformed really nicely indeed, especially around the hatches and bits and pieces of the turret, as you can see here. So incredibly happy with those. As decals go, they have they're much better than a lot that I've used recently from well-known kit manufacturers. So very pleased with that. Next step is a good coat of clear, future, pledge, whatever you want to call it, to give it an all-over gloss coat in preparation for a bit of oil weathering. And and then following that will be a matte coat, and then picking out the tools. So where are we at the moment? We have the tracks just about complete. Most of this is now complete. We're almost there, but the tracks are now complete. So what I've done with those is, prior to painting, I've dipped those into hot water and moulded a little bit, or bent and formed a little bit of sag into the tracks to make them look a little bit more realistic when they're on the tank. They've had a base coat of black, then the dark grey in the middle of the wheels, which I've sort of darkened and dirtied up a little bit more than the grey of the hull, as you can see. And then they've had a sort of rust coloured wash, and then a dry brushing of silver for the top of the cleats, and inside the tracks where the road wheels and the drive sprocket, idler sprocket and return rollers will contact it as it rolls round. A little bit of a dry brush of the metal paint on the return roller and drive sprockets, and same on the right hand track, return roller, drive sprockets, etc. Same thing with that. So you've got a little bit of a slightly kind of rusty appearance inside the cleats, and then the shiny surface on the top where it rolls and contacts with the road. So the tracks are done. The body of the tank needs just a little more work to complete it. It's had the paint, the oil wash, a coat of Windsor & Newton Galleria matte varnish. First time I've tried that, which I'm really impressed with. I've used pigments to create a sort of overall rusted effect on the mufflers, and then I've painted up the tools, and with a combination of dry brushing and a bit of an oil wash, given a bit of a wood effect on the boxes, the tool handles, and this little box at the front on the right hand side. That needs a coat of matte varnish once that's fully dried tomorrow, just to flat that down, because obviously with the oil paint wash over the top, it gives it a shiny appearance, which of course is incorrect. And that's largely done, just a couple of little bits of touching up, and the washing the suspension so that stands out a little more. I may add a little bit of dust as well to the tracks and the underside of the fenders and such. And then the turret, same kind of thing, with a bit of a black base and dry brush for some of the parts, a little bit of sort of dry brushing to add some texture and such to parts, and pick out things like the hatch panel lines. And I think I might just add a couple of little bits of sort of gentle little bits of chipping to the edge of the turret, the top edges of the turret where it would be climbed up on to climb inside the turret hatch. We'll see, but that's not far off completed. So the next video will show the completed model kit and an overview and some close-up details. And I've been very pleased with this, really enjoyed it, and I enjoyed it so much I'm quite fancying for my next build to do a 35th scale tank, because I haven't built a 35th scale tank since I did the Tamiya Panther, the old mould Panther, which was the original battery powered, the one that could be battery powered. So I'm quite fancying doing a 35th scale, and I've got a choice at the moment between a T3476, which is a tank that I like, a Sturm Tiger, which I think is really interesting looking, and the Sherman M4A1, an Italeri one. So that's an ICM, a Revell and an Italeri to choose from. I'm not sure which one. I'm not sure if I might go a completely different direction and do a civilian vehicle instead, but we'll see. I'll think about that while I wrap this one up, and we'll see where we go next. But thank you for watching so far. Join us for the next video, and we'll see you there.